All right. We are going to do a review of the Solar P1 3.0. There is some content out there, but there's been nothing recently. So this will be the newest review on the scooter. Most are 2 to 3 years old. Maybe you can find a year-old one, but anybody that is looking to get a better scooter, I first purchased a little $250 cheapo one. It was awesome. It did great, but I'm a big dog rider, 260, 6'4", so I am a big dog rider. Obviously, the little cheapo scooters, they did great, but obviously I killed the battery real quick. So there are thousands of brands of scooters out there, and there's all kinds of guides, but none of them are very clear. My advice through my research and being new to the scooter market is you could buy a scooter with this exact, dual 1200 watt motors, the batteries. You could probably buy this exact scooter from the Walmart store for like $500. But the problem is, if you buy that scooter from the Walmart shop, you are getting no brand support. So the Solar scooter comes with a 2-year warranty, and I've actually been dealing with their customer service. I'll get into that. They have been very responsive. So you get I paid just under a little bit over $1,000 for this scooter. Originally much more expensive. It was on sale. I found some discount codes online, gave me additional 30% off. And this is my first major scooter. But you get a 2-year warranty with it. You get brand support. And the biggest one, there is a parts store on the Solar website. You can buy any part that you need for this scooter off their website. And that alone, plus the brand support and warranty, is worth the additional money that you will spend on a no-name brand scooter from Alibaba, the Walmart store, eBay, Amazon. So keep that in mind. Solar has been great so far. The scooter even arrived a day quicker than I assumed. It originally said Friday, and it arrived on Thursday. Just a heads up, it does require direct signature upon delivery. So if you're going to order one, make sure that you have somebody there to receive and sign for it, because big purchase, you know what I mean, costs a lot of money. Okay, so let's get into the actual scooter review. I'll focus on cons, pros, but overall the scooter's awesome. There's a few problems here and there, but let's be very clear. If you want to buy a $3,000 scooter, you probably won't have to do anything to it. It's a $3,000 scooter. But if you're going to buy a $1,000 scooter, you are expected to be able to do the maintenance and repairs on this thing. And there will be maintenance and repairs. Even just my first ride, there was already a repair, which is fine. I know what I signed up for. I did my research. I am able to do repairs on the scooter where my warranty allows. Now, obviously, be careful not to void your warranty. So be wary. The Solar customer service is pretty awesome on their reply time, because I had an issue, and I'll just kind of show you guys real quick. But it might be hard to see on the camera just because of how cameras and LCDs, but there is a small crack in my LCD screen here. I noticed it as soon as I unboxed it. I contacted Solar. They said, boom, here's your tracking number. The new one's on the way. They did ask for some additional pictures of the packages and just something showing like, hey, where's your shipping label on there? So easy stuff. They want to be able to get their money back too if it was the shipping department's fault. So there's a lot of content out there. I highly suggest that you research, look what it takes to own one of these before you buy it. There is a lot of required maintenance, not maintenance, but you will be expected to do some repairs. It is not worth it to ship it to Solar to have them replace the display. I will do that myself. Usually with warranties, the buyer is responsible for shipping costs both ways. So as long as you contact Solar and make sure it's okay that you do the repair yourself, then you are covered underneath your warranty, because obviously there's, record of them approving the repair. I asked them, am I allowed to replace the LCD myself? They said yes, it's a very easy repair. They would prefer I do that versus trying to send the scooter back to them, because that costs a small fortune. So let's get into it. Before I even did my first ride, I got it. It was late, so luckily, thank God, it wasn't like 10 a.m. when I was home when it got there, because it would have been really hard for me not to jump on it and start riding it. I live in Indiana. I am not using this thing for commuting. This is strictly for fun. Basic off-roading, going to the park with my kid. You know what I mean? I'm not using this thing to commute to work, to do Uber Eats, nothing like that. This is strictly a recreational scooter for me. And due to that, the way I ride it is probably a little harder, which is fine because I want to test the scooter. But before I started my first ride, the very first thing I did was I checked every single screw on this entire scooter and tightened them. And the ones that I thought was, I don't want to put 242 Loctite on any bolt that isn't recommended. The Google Chrome AI and like the Firefox AI is awesome. You just ask it, which screw should I put Loctite 242 on for my Solar P1 3.0 scooter, and it'll spit out an exact answer. Don't put Loctite on these ones. And so I followed that. I went ahead and put blue 242 Loctite on most screws. I checked every screw to make sure it was tight, and most of them were tight, and you could see like the factory blue Loctite that they put on the screws from the factory. Loctite 242 is Loctite that basically just stops screws from vibrating loose, but you can still remove them with a little hand pressure. Whatever you do, don't use the red or green Loctites. Okay, so let's get into it. Have I got this thing going 40 miles an hour being a 260-pound big dog rider? No. Could I? Probably. I've got it going 30 in second mode. There is 3 modes, an eco, a drive, and a S mode, so speed mode. I've had it in speed mode once or twice. It eats the battery pretty quick. I'm more of a drive mode type of guy. I don't really need to be going faster than 30 miles an hour on bike trails and stuff, so I prefer drive mode. As you can see, I put just shy of 50 miles on it in 2 days, and I tried to kill the battery yesterday, like run it down. I drove it for 2 hours at the park with my daughter in eco mode and going very slow, obviously. I basically didn't even use a bar of the battery on those 2 hours in eco mode. I went down to the park. I did about, I'd say 15 to 20 miles on second mode, and I still had 2 bars left. And that was after I was purposely going up large hills and stuff to try to run the battery down. So I was thinking like a phone, run it down all the way, charge it back up to 100%. I do recommend when your scooter arrives, make sure you charge the battery before you take it out. It may be at like 3 bars. I didn't even want to check. I just plugged it in as soon as I did, because obviously there is responsibility, maintenance, and checking of the parts before you should ride this. In a video, I saw somebody tell me, hey, get that. Sorry, that's my guilty habit of tobacco still. Somebody told me in one of the videos, I believe it was from Electric Scooter Guide, put the Gorilla adhesive on these lug nuts because you will lose them extremely fast. Sure enough, on my first ride, one popped off. So I put Gorilla Glue on these, but I can still easily get them off as needed. Obviously, I want to be able to check my lug nuts. You got your big suspension there. So now we're ready for our first ride. Let's go over the scooter very quickly. This will be a longer video because I will say there was not a lot of content out there that just actually went into the scooter. It was mostly, you know, just people riding and talking at the same time. I don't have those things to ride and the little bars that come off you and stuff. Like I said, this thing is strictly recreational for me. There will be no travel between work and all that good stuff. Strictly tear it up the driveway, you know what I mean? And take it to the park, enjoy getting that fresh air going 20 miles down a bike trail. So let's get into it. I installed a phone holder. If you're going to get one, make sure it has the metal screw. The plastic ones will not support your phone. I also have a pop socket on my phone, which won't allow it to slide past there. But even with this, it cranks tight enough for me to go over any bump that it will not come off. I did change my handlebars. I took the recommendation, I believe it's RK Rides. He said he likes the Deity Knuckle Busters, or Knuckle Dusters, I'm sorry. And they are screwing on. The ones that are on there, they're on there pretty snug. It took me quite a lot of force to get the factory ones off, but they are just rubber ones. So they come off with enough force, or you can help them along with some other type of method. Obviously, you want to be careful not to scratch your handlebars. You can actually see underneath here scratches on the metal where it looks like maybe original handlebars were on there and they used maybe a screwdriver, or handlebar covers, they used a screwdriver to help get it off. Or it could just be a thing from the factory. Who knows? But it's conveniently on both sides. Everything can be adjusted. You know what I mean? That can be adjusted. But it is pretty much 2 different millimeter Allen wrenches. And I suggest getting yourself a set of T-wrenches. You can basically do the maintenance on this entire thing with basically like 2 Allen keys. And I would use the T keys just because they're very universal. So I went through and I leaned against a wall so I could see how my riding arm position would be, and then I adjusted everything. It does take some getting used to, the flick. I don't like zero start. I prefer to kick off and then hit the gas versus me just stand here and accidentally hitting this and it, you know, shoots and runs over my foot or hits my kit or something. So it does come with launch mode on, I believe. I went into the settings and adjusted it. Obviously follow your user's manual. Do not adjust any of the settings that they do not say to. The only settings I adjusted was I want to be able to kick off start, and I do not want cruise control on this scooter. Because I ride with my kid a lot, I'll be in eco mode, just holding the throttle at 5 miles an hour for an extended period. And I do not want cruise control to kick on. I would encourage new riders to also keep cruise control off. So say if you're going up a hill and you're holding the trigger and all of a sudden you don't realize cruise control kicks in, you get to the top of the hill and you go, you know, fall on your butt. So let's talk a little bit more about this. Obviously, light switch, horn, very, very funny horn. Brakes are good. It does have regen brakes. Everything is disconnectable. Everything, like I said, is attached by those 2 different Allen keys. I didn't want to get the fingerprint scanner one. And plus, I don't think it was available either. I prefer just a key one. I don't want to deal with the... it seemed like there was much more part support on the key turning ones than finger ones. This scooter also can have a seat. You can see those 4 screws there. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can put a seat on this thing. It is out of stock on their store right now. It does seem to be a big selling point that you can put a removable seat on this. I will not be buying the seat. Like I said, this is just recreation for me. I'm not going to be commuting 20 miles to work or something like that. Continue on. Got brakes there. It does have regen brakes. Little squeaky, but not bad. I did have to make an adjustment to this back rotor. It was catching when the wheel would spin. So Solar's YouTube channel, a lot of the videos may be old and a lot of them may be maintenance regarded to the P1, but all of them have pretty much the same parts. So all those videos that Solar put out a few years back are still very beneficial if you need to make any basic repairs or maintenance. They cover a lot of stuff in their videos, so it's very helpful. But basically, I just adjusted it. It was very easy to do. I know what I signed up for. I don't expect a scooter that never needs to be adjusted. That's just silly. So this is a high-performance scooter for $1,000. When you buy a high-performance scooter for $1,000, you're signing up to do stuff yourself. So if you want to go buy a $3,000 or $4,000 scooter, you probably won't have to do anything to it. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that you're going to be able to make any adjustments, repairs that are authorized, so you don't mess up your warranty. But yeah. So I had to make a small adjustment to that. Nothing crazy. The front brake was fine. The screen, 3 modes. Double push these. I'm not going to get into all that. It's all in the owner's manual. This is more about the first 50 miles I've rode on this thing. I've kept it in dual motor the entire time because I am a big dog rider, 265, 6'4". I don't want to put unnecessary strain. Sorry to just be panning around. I don't want to be putting unnecessary strain on just one motor when I can easily just use both motors. Like it's less load on both versus putting double the load on one motor. Like, yes, one motor could carry you pretty much wherever you want, but why? You're not going to use less power. You're going to be using the same amount of power. You're just splitting it between two motors instead of putting all that power in one motor. So I've never taken out of dual motor. It took a little getting used to this, but once you get your brakes and your handlebars set up and stuff, it's pretty easy. There's not much fatigue of the hands and stuff when you're driving. I'll usually actually just keep my finger right here and then only use the brakes when I need to, but I'll usually keep my hand on this one all the time. I'm going to apologize now about the length of this video. I put that little silly Walmart scooter bag on there. I don't know. Amazon was supposed to send me one. It got delayed. I was supposed to get a helmet. It got delayed. So whatever, Amazon. When it comes in the box, you do have to attach this light. It's got that blue thing to help hold it up. Obviously, if you will be doing commuting or nighttime traveling, this light is insufficient. There's very few scooters that do come with appropriate headlight or lights in general to support nighttime driving. So nothing against solar on that light. They put a light on there. It's just no scooter ever has enough light to be safe to drive enough at night. Every rider usually has to add an additional light to their scooter. You got the 4 front suspension right there. Me being a 265 rider, 6'4", the suspension has felt good. I would just remind everybody this is a $1,000 high-performance scooter. A lot of the riding comfortable is going to depend on the rider. Yes, the suspension is here. Yes, the suspension helps, but the way your foot placement is and the way that you give the bumps and stuff, you have to absorb it into your body with good placement. When you hit the gas, you want to flow with your foot resting on here. So you don't want to put, a 265-pound, 6'4" rider putting all of his weight on the stem is not a good idea. So when I hit the gas, I let it, just naturally make my weight go onto my back foot on there. Straight foot forward, 1 foot back here. I'll switch my stances sometimes, but usually I am left foot forward like this, and then my back foot right there. I have occasionally accidentally put my foot back two times and had that rub on the tire, but obviously you hear it right away. So I also I ordered mine with the off-road tires. You do get an extra set of off-road tires with them too, which is really nice. Thank you, Solar. I did ask customer service, does the off-road ones have self-healing as well as the on-road ones that they talk about on the website, which I will leave a link to everything I purchased, being a brand new scooter owner, rider, whatever you want to call me. Completely recreational, but I don't want to be stupid and I want to keep myself safe. I want to be around for my kids, but I also want to have fun. Let's continue. I've heard other people complain that the base is too small. I thought it was great. I will say one major con or complaint. The website says it weighs 55 pounds, and I'm 6'4", 265. I can tell you right now, this thing does not weigh 55 pounds. It's more like 80 or 90. So just be aware of that before you purchase it. It's got a good battery in it so far that I can tell. I haven't been able to kill it yet. It's got the dual chargers. It comes with one charger. I did order another charger to cut down on charge time, and the chargers get pretty hot, those blocks. So just make sure wherever you're charging it at that you have that block in a well-ventilated area so it can get some air, and you know what I mean? Like it's not sitting on a bunch of plastic or something. It doesn't get hot enough or anything to melt anything, but you know what I mean, safety first. So, but yeah, definitely not 55 pounds. I can 100% tell you that this is not a 55-pound scooter. I have to use two hands and grunt some when I lift this thing into the back of the car in and out. It is not easy to lift. But $1,000 high performance scooter, once again, I know what I'm signing up for. If I want to buy a $3,000 scooter, I'll buy a $3,000 scooter, but I don't want to. Let's get into another thing. When I was riding, I was going about, I'd say about 25, and I heard like a click and a dung, 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 dung. And what happened was the clamp, the cable line clamp came off, and it started, I don't know if it went in there. I had them bent up, so I'm not sure what exactly happened, but the wire clamp came off. I purchased a new one, but I have some better ones coming in the mail because it's coming apart. The line is kind of fraying, and then one even got broken back. So it does have a cable clamp underneath this, but I put the tape on there just strictly so it doesn't unwind anymore until I get those better ones. So yeah, I mean, you know, disc brakes, cable brakes. If you want to buy that $3,000 scooter, I'm sure it'll have hydraulic brakes on it. I know what I signed up for. $1,000 high performance scooter. I'm probably going to say that 20 times in this. Let's get into the locking mechanism. And I apologize about the length of this video, but like I stated, there's not many videos just going into the actual scooter. It's just everybody riding it. This is what releases it right here. Then you pull this down. There is a spring underneath here. If you get too much, you know, play in the stem, there is a spring, and you can kind of see it right there. I tightened it a little bit earlier. I tightened it too much because if you tighten it too much, this will not push in. Like, it's going to be stiff, but you don't want to force it. And I was feeling like I was pushing too hard, so I gave it like another half turn, maybe turn back, and then it was perfect. It took away any play in my stem. There's also two screws inside here. Here, hang on, I gotta do this one-handed. But as you've probably done some research if you're watching this video, but there is, let's see if the camera will focus. There is screws in there. I do like how the handlebars come down. It definitely makes it easier to store it. So that is one win they get. I do like that. I know through my research that this is normally a problem point in the life of the scooter is these. This one's a little stiff, probably needs a little bit more grease, and you can see some grease on, but you know what I mean. $1,000 high performance scooter, not worried about it. Yeah, so let's continue. So right now, I have seen somebody add another one of these, so I just need to research to see where they got it, but you already have a predetermined hole right here because luckily my foot is large enough to where it won't catch in there, but if you have smaller feet, you may put your foot back here and get it, you know what I mean, your toe might get caught in there. So if there was a recommendation to Solar, put the extra one in. I know that may not be ideal. And then I've seen some people even drill an extra hole to put in a fourth one. I don't need that, but just be careful how far you put your foot back. The brake light is connected to the headlights. You can adjust that in the settings if you so choose, if you want the brake light to remain on all the time. Definitely before you first ride, make sure you check your tire pressure. I'm keeping mine at 48 pounds. It recommends between 45 and 50 pounds for these specific tires, which is in your owner's manual. It does have I guess you refer to it as like a drum tire. So it is easier to change a tire. I've had no issues with the tire so far. Like I said, I've done about 50 miles on this scooter in 2 days. I've yet to kill the battery, but I have not been going in high mode the entire time. I have got up to 30 miles an hour, maybe 35. Don't hold me to that. Once again, 265, 6'4", big dog rider, and I had a hard time killing this battery. I still haven't done it yet, but I'm also not making a 20-mile one-way commute like some people like to do. And this scooter may be able to do it, but because I'm not doing that, I cannot tell you that, yes, you could do a 40-mile round trip on eco mode in the scooter. You might be able to, you might not be able to, but all I can tell you is there is no hill this thing cannot climb up. I've tried every hill I could find, and this thing climbs up it with enough acceleration to go as fast as I want up that hill. You will get a little battery sag sometimes, so like, especially once I get through this first bar, you'll see it like, let's say if I have the gas, I'm going full speed, you'll see the battery sag, but it's not too bad, usually 1 bar. I'm sure if you're in speed mode, the battery sag is probably worse, but once you let off the gas, use the regen brake a little bit, even let it sit for a minute, those bars come right back. So it's just the battery juicing, and this does have a 52 volt battery. I'm going off memory. When researching scooters, it is so hard to find reliable information on like what kind of battery do you buy. Obviously, everybody always throws out words like Samsung and LG batteries. You are not going to get Samsung and LG batteries in a $1,000 high performance scooter. You will get Samsung and LG batteries in a $3,000 scooter. You may get Samsung and LG batteries in a Segway or one of those other brands, but the scooter may only go 15 miles an hour. So just keep that in mind. Some scooters are made for distance. Some scooters are made for more off-road. Some are made for, God, I don't know, just to cruise around town. I chose this one. This is the one I think is going to work pretty well for what I want. But do your research. I encourage anybody to ask me questions. I've really dug into the scooter world information, and it is hard to get reliable information. I still might have made a mistake. I don't know. But I am happy with the purchase. There's been a few issues, but nothing I didn't know I didn't sign up for. And the scooter rips fucking ass. I didn't mean to cuss, but, got to emphasize. The scooter rips. It's got great acceleration. Definitely wear a helmet. Definitely, be smart. Watch out for them potholes. Be respectful on bike paths and stuff like that. Don't cruise by somebody going 30 miles an hour. That's just rude. Slow down. Use your regen brake and regen your battery a little bit. And go by somebody with a reasonable speed. Don't honk your horn at them unless you have to. Because it's not I'm almost considering getting just a normal ding bell, like a bike bell. Because a good way to piss somebody off is to ring that horn at them, then pass by them, because they're going to be like, what the hell are you doing on a bike trail with a horn for a moped or whatever you want to call it. So now I will do update videos on any repairs I may do or any interactions I have with the Solar customer service team. I've had quite a few interactions with them already. I have nothing to complain. They've been fast at their responses and have seemed overall pretty reasonable. So, I'll state again, yes, you can get a scooter with these specs, which 2 1200 watt dual motors, disc brakes, single stem. It's not a dual stem. You could get a scooter like this with these settings for probably $500 from the Walmart store. Will you get any support with that? Hell no. So, after doing a lot of research, some people you'll see online say, Solar is a company that buys an Alibaba scooter, then puts motors in it. Well, there is some truth to that, but the scooter market, everything comes from China. Everything is already a predetermined frame built in China. So you may be able to find a similar looking one to this on Walmart, but with completely different specs. And from what I can tell is Solar will put an order into the manufacturer in China. He wants these specifications for his scooter. Once they come over, you get a lot more quality control on the scooters. If you're just ordering from the Walmart store, they order 10,000 units of these scooters. Do you think anybody inspects those scooters? No. So Solar will order 10,000 scooters, inspect every one. Then they'll do upgrades in-house to the scooters to make them more appealing. I did not get the Tron lights for this. It was like an extra $150 or $200 if I remember, and I just don't really care about some lights. It's not what I'm using this thing for, just strictly recreational. I can't believe this is a 30-minute video, so I apologize. I probably missed a ton of shit in this video, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. Catch you later.